it sucked, right? Because it was like, that was my only source of income. So, obviously I require a deposit. So imagine everybody from April, May until the end of the year is asking for the deposit back. So here I am, like, not trying to be that guy, right? Trying to hold their deposit because I don't even know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what? If the event's not going to, like, we were literally going week by week. And I was following up with the client. It's like, hey, is the party going to happen? And then more news coming out. Everything's shut down. Oh, no, now you can't do this. Now you got to do this. And it was like everything just kept getting more restrictive. So every week and even months out, people are like, hey, dude, like, I don't have a job or I can't do this. Like, I need my deposit back. So it's like, here I am not getting any money. The bills are still coming every month. I'm living off of my savings. Even off of my savings, I still have to give people back their deposits. So I was done.
Dropping buckets.
You lost 100,000?
I would been grinding for so long, I never stopped to realize.
What was your biggest financial mistake?
I'm coming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets.
You watching Untold Raw podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. It's your guy Lavelle here.
It's your boy Mario. Welcome back to Untold Raw. Today we got a special guest.
My boy Eric Estrada.
What's going on? The one and only Punch.
Man, I feel like I went to high school with you.
Really?
I don't know. Your name sounds so familiar.
Glendale High?
Glendale?
Yeah, Glendale
Nah, I
High.
didn't go to Glendale. Nah, nope.
Some other. Eric is a common name. That's why.
Yeah, but the last name as well.
Estrada.
Estrada. Yeah. Bro, you should come out with a brand. Estrada.
Estrada.
That sounds
shades.
good.
That sounds like some cold shades right
Estrada
there.
tequila.
That definitely falls under his.
So, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
Doing well, man. Feeling real good. Honored to be here on Untold Raw.
We appreciate you for coming back.
Yes.
You guys seen the podcast in the past. We already made one where we talked about how I try to do it for the past 4 years. DJ Estradation, Eric, he actually came to one of them. And unfortunately, it's just, again, I tried trial and error, but this is the one, bro.
This is the one. Man, seeing the before and then seeing the after, like where you're currently at. Yeah, I see the vision.
This is the one.
You know what? Yeah, I commend you for that. Like, you have to be picky.
Yeah,
you have to be picky. So
thank you,
I
man.
can only imagine.
I worked very hard on this. I worked very, very hard. His upgrade didn't come.
It was all of it.
But talk to us a little bit. Introduce what you do. Your business, everything for people out there to understand more of what you do.
Yeah, so Eric Estrada, aka DJ Estradation, we focus on entertainment. So aside from DJing, right, where anybody can DJ and mix two songs, right? What we do is we bring an entertainment aspect to our service. So what does the entertainment consist of, right? Well, our MC work, that's what we're known for, right? Both in English and in Spanish. Anybody can DJ, but not everybody can, handle the mic. So I think that's what's important, and that's what people look for, right? That entertainment aspect of it. How are you going to introduce, the newlyweds, or how are you going to introduce the guest of honor, right? That's what we focus on. So we like to do heavy, mic work, both in English and Spanish. Now, we also bring this thing called the Crazy Hour, and that's actually what got us known in the entertainment industry, this, DJing, where we bring out party favors, we play upbeat music, and we bring sort of a Vegas style to your party for about an hour, right? So we bring party favors, light up rings, bracelets, glasses, a bunch of other stuff, right? We have a CO2 cannon. We also have the option of bringing robots, so it creates a fun environment for everybody that is involved. And then more recently, we've also expanded into our production. So shout out to my boy, Albert Rentz. So through him, we're able to offer even more services where we can bring sort of a mini concert to your event. So we're a one-stop shop for your party. So whatever it is that you want or you're looking for, even if we don't have it in-house, we've built a huge Rolodex on where we can pretty much be sort of a party planner and make sure we can plan and execute your vision on your event, whatever it is you're celebrating.
And let me tell you, everybody, this. If you guys hire him, make sure you guys get the Crazy Hour. I actually filmed one of them, and it was fun. It was different. It's an experience that I think every party needs, and every event. Make sure you lock that in. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. And if you guys want to know further, hit him up, and he'll explain the whole process even into more detail. But it's really fun. It's really cool. Yeah. I actually love what you do. The energy you bring to your business, bro, like, it shows a passion. I know you're not in it for the money. I've seen you grow throughout the years, bro. It's always been, it's inspiring, bro, to see other people like myself and you where we're chasing what we love, and just money seems to come with it. And I love that. Like, I seen what you've done from the giveaways. But I want to just dial it back to talk to us how did this all start? What came to your mind that you wanted to do what you're doing today? Did you know, or like tell me when was it? Because I remember this is way before COVID, right?
Way before COVID. So yeah, started DJing when I was 15, currently 31. So, 16 years in this whole DJing thing, right? When I decided to really go professional was in 2017, meaning we did a large investment in equipment. Shout out to my dad, who was my bank at that time. Obviously I couldn't go, I was of age, but nobody teaches you credit, or nobody, shows you how to handle your finances and stuff. So the only person I could really turn to was my dad. So through him, we were able to purchase, a bigger equipment, right? Speakers, lights, a new controller. And so through that, we were able to just kind of, start out the year, start building it. And then at the end of 2017, it's like, okay, what's missing, right? And then it's like, all right, let's purchase a photo booth. Cool. So 2018, again, go to my dad. We get the capital. I purchased the photo booth. And then end of 2018, it's like, okay, well, what else do we need, right? So it's just kind of been like long time coming, right? Where every year I kind of set a goal, right? Of like, okay, this is how many gigs I want to hit this year. Whether we hit it or not, we also kind of go throughout each event and we start thinking or seeing, right? Like, what is it that we can, continue to kind of invest in? So yeah, well before COVID, COVID really hit us hard. So obviously after COVID, we had to kind of pivot, and which is why we kind of went the whole production route now. So yeah, it's just been a long time coming, and lots of hard work, sacrifices, and dreams and visions that you get, and you figure out a way of just executing that.
And your pops believed in you from the get-go, or it was just more of like he looked at you crazy, but he like just let's do it anyway, or did he question it? What was it in that moment?
You know what? Till this day, he questions it. That's the thing that's crazy. But Mexican parents, right? They obviously struggle to get here, right, and give you what they can, right? And so then for them, their goal is like, I want to be proud of my son, right? So to them, like going to school, right, going to college and getting a degree was probably the highest moment and proudness that they could get, right? My mom and dad, they talk about that, right? So to them, that degree was somehow going to translate into like me being successful in some type of corporate job or and all that. So for them to see what I'm doing and thinking like, oh, you could just be working 9 to 5, 40 hours, a week. Like they see me work, a lot longer than that. Right. So I guess they don't believe it or they don't see it, but of course they support me, but it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, like, oh, so did you see that your cousin graduated from so-and-so and he got this job, right? Or that, so-and-so's doing this and doing that. And it's like, when they tell, or when they ask, like, where's your son doing? Like, oh, well, he's a DJ. And I was trying to tell my dad, like, yeah, dad, like I'm a DJ, but like, do you not understand like what we're also doing, right? Like it's not only a DJ service. So obviously he's seen the crazy hour. My mom too, right? Parents, my family see what they do, right? But yeah, I mean, it's all love at the end of the day,
See, like one thing I love about him, everything he just talked about, he didn't waste his parents' money.
No.
He took it to heart. A lot of people, when they get granted money from their parents, they tend to just take it as like, it's not my money. Like it doesn't, they don't put the effort.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
They didn't have to grind for it.
They
so
didn't have
it's
to
like,
grind for it.
yeah.
In his case, yeah, he got funded, but he grinded like it was his own. He valued his parents' money, and I respect that because a lot of people will go the other route, So shout out.
You said you've been doing this since you was 16 or 15?
15, right.
For 16 years.
Yeah.
So that started before you even like started your adulthood to go get a job,
right.
The natural human being that walks this land. That's crazy. So you already had a business mind state way before adulthood.
Absolutely. I think more than anything, what it really, like the root of it all is, I guess, the love for music, right?
Right.
So at 15, I get my first computer. Right, the iMac. Y'all remember the iMacs when they first came out, where it was just the screen, the keyboard, and the mouse?
I was against Apple at the beginning, so I was Windows all the way.
So, obviously back in the day, right, you had to get the whole CPU, you had to get keyboard, mouse, and then your monitor, right? But then at some point, Apple comes out with this, it's a screen, and the whole CPU is in the screen, so it's just keyboard, mouse, monitor, right? So I get one for Christmas. And from there, I have a good friend of mine who was DJing. His dad was a DJ. And so he kind of followed that footsteps. And so he was a young DJ and just kind of like loving music and stuff. So, Apple iPods, same thing, popular around that time, right? I'm 15. right? So that's just kind of like even before that, right? When we had our, what do they call it? Remember the CD players, and then you could do those
Yeah.
mobile and stuff. So like all of that stems since I was young, right? Like listening to music, like music. We go to the swap meet, right? When we were young, and like you're hearing
times.
like these
Good
big
times.
speakers, you know,
Right.
like blasting music
Yep.
and stuff. And like you listen to that, or you're listening to radio and you're like, you're loving the rhythm, right? More so like Mexican, you know, Latin music, right? That's kind of what the love for music, you know. So 15, obviously, friend comes over. He sees my computer. Dude, did you know that my actual DJ controller can connect to your iPod? I'm like, dude, that's awesome. So through the computer, we're on LimeWire, downloading as much illegal music as we can.
You said LimeWire?
You remember
LimeWire,
LimeWire?
man.
wow.
You remember LimeWire?
Bro,
Yeah, I think we all-
LimeWire. I got a couple letters to my house that was saying, hey, illegal music downloaded.
I got a couple
LimeWire.
viruses.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then,
Look,
that was not the right.
Man.
that's why you had to go. That's why you had to go Apple. And I didn't learn that until after. I had a lot
okay.
of friends that had Windows,
Windows.
Right.
and with LimeWire, it was like a completely different thing where like you would legit some of them would get locked out of their laptop or computer, you know.
Yeah.
So like for Apple, it was like, yeah, you would get like these pop-ups and stuff, but it was like I don't think it was made for, you know, a Macintosh
right.
system. So I kind of avoided a lot of that. But you know, LimeWire, and then obviously all of the CDs that I had kind of built over time, right, and keeping them in CD books and stuff. You know, just putting them on my computer and downloading those albums into. So, like all of that was long time coming to building my music library, and obviously sending that over to my iPod and then putting it in his DJ controller, and that's kind of where the root of it all became. Where it's like I can mix 2 songs, like that's awesome. You know, I can add effects to it, cool.
So you've been doing it for this long. My question is, what drives you? Like, for someone to do it for this long, there has to be something inside of you or something people don't know. What is it that motivates you and keeps pushing you and disciplines you to keep going within this career of yours? Because like it's inspiring to see someone just like I can feel the energy, bro. Like you're excited about what you do, and I've seen it. I've been there.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, what's the reason behind everything? Like, let the people know, because like people need to know who's behind DJ Estradation and what's the purpose, and you know, why is that you love this so much?
I think it's family, man. Obviously, you know, I keep bringing up my dad. I keep bringing up my family, right? If it wasn't for him funding this, like I wouldn't be able to get to the next level, right? Them buying me my first computer, right? And, you know, me being able to download more music and just kind of expand my knowledge in music, that was huge. So I always go back to that, and I'm like, you know what? Like how we were saying, right? That like you were asking, like, oh, what does your dad think of this, right? I think that's what it is. That I want to prove a point, right? Not only to myself, but to my family, to be like, hey, look, like, yeah, I have a degree and maybe I don't have a 9 to 5, right? But like, I want you to see that like I'm gonna make it, right? Like this, like I'm doing this for y'all, like because you know if it wasn't for you guys, you know, obviously with all the values and everything that you guys you know implemented in me at a young age, and also you know showing me that it's like, hey, I can rely on you guys for these you know huge investments. It's like I kind of want to pay it back to them, and so I get a huge satisfaction when you know I'm able to go out to these like amazing events, you know, and meet some incredible people, and through that, you know, I do see some sense of, you know, like satisfaction in my family to be like, wow, like, you know, my son DJ'd for so and so, right? My son did this for a special family, right? And the way that they talk about me with other family members, other people. Right. And that's when I know like, all right, what I'm doing is good. Like, what else can I continue to do? So it's just kind of like proving a point to myself and to my family that it's like, hey, like, thanks to you guys, like I am where I am at. And I want to continue to go and just kind of like be like, all right, I don't see this as a job, right? Like I do this, you know, for the love of music, you know, I don't consider this, you know, a career, but here I am. Right. So I got to continue and see what else I can, you know, what else I can do and get out of this.
Was that like at the time you didn't consider it as a career, or is like still today you still feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, just my goals and dreams, you know, continue to shift. And that was just kind of like the same way that I was setting a goal for myself at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of the year, thinking like, all right, what else I should invest in? It was just kind of the same thing, right? Where I was like, oh, at some point I wanted to be a radio DJ. And then we kind of tried that. And then it was like, you know, not so much. And then it's like, okay, now I want to do this, you know, with DJing. And then not so much. So it's like, it always just kind of brought me back, you know.
When you first started out, it was just like Just strictly DJing?
Just DJing, just mixing music. I never really thought about, investing in a photo booth, right?
Right.
Or like the robots, or like even doing the crazy hour. It was just like things that throughout every year that I was like, what can set me apart? It's like I always wanted to be different.
Yeah.
And even before DJing, like I was that type of person where it was like I didn't dress like everybody else did, right? Like I never had designer, right? Like I remember once my mom got me these shoes from Payless. And so like everybody in my school, like, dude, would have like Nikes, Adidas, K-Swiss, Reebok, like whatever those shoes were kind of in at that time. And so for me, it's like I could never wear that. And so one day my mom comes and she like gets me these shoes, and they were Shaq, and like they have like kind of like, remember?
I had some of
remember
them,
the Shaq,
but I
Shaq
wore them
Payless
like they was
shoes?
Jordans.
So, and it's like I know I was getting made fun of, but like I never took it to heart, or never like realized that like, oh, they were, trying to bully me. I always just thought like, nah, like I'm trying to be different. Like, like, okay, you might have Jordans, you might have this, but it's like, I have Shaq shoes, right? And it was kind of the same thing with like my haircuts. I never really had a barber until I was kind of like an adult. My mom was always my barber. So it's like, she would always cut my hair. So to me, it was like, again, same thing. Like I was always being different, where it was like, oh, I didn't have that fade, or, clean cut or whatever, because my mom was the one that was always giving me the same cut. So just kind of being different was just always a thing for me.
Oh, okay. So that's actually pretty dope. Your drive come from life
Yeah,
lessons.
from life lessons,
Not
exactly.
just like, some entrepreneurs just be like, you know what? I'm good at this. I want to sell this. I want to do this.
And you know what? You want to know why he's successful?
Why?
And I try to tell everybody this because he sticks. Remember, we talked about this a few days ago. Or actually, that was my boy Eric, which he's behind the camera. You align in a circle. Everything you do falls in that circle. You didn't chase the money doing this, and that. You stayed within yours, and you just said, how can I build more leverage within what he's doing?
Yeah.
And that's to every business owner out there. It's not about, let me try to do too many things. Do it's within what you're doing. For example, me, filmmaker, director, I do weddings. Everything falls in the same category. And I think that's how you take it to the next level. Because you just start doing out of nowhere tomorrow, you start a clothing brand. Like, how? Like, that's just, you're lost. You're stuck on one, but not stuck on, but you're building within that. And I think that's why you're going to go far, because you're very smart in what you're doing. You're reinvesting. You're like, how else can I improve my business? What else can I offer? That's a smart thing. And we talked about it in the past, like a few days ago, where you said you wanted to get a hall.
Right.
That's a smart, he's building all within one. That's the smartest thing anybody can do. And and you keep doing that, bro, because I think that's setting you apart, and it's going to make you go further than where you think you'll go.
Right.
And I love seeing that.
So what is like some of the, like, even starting out or versus now, what are the like some of the creative ways that you market yourself from like standing out from the rest?
You want to know what's crazy? I don't really market myself.
Really?
I really don't. So everything that I've built up to this point has all been relationship building. So people that I know, right? Like Mario, right? At some point I needed a photographer, videographer. Somebody recommended me Mario. And it's like, whether we vibed or not at that time, it was like, I'm going to stick with this person, because the person that recommended me this person was a reliable source to me, right? A friend, a good friend of mine. So it was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to stick with him. So here we are, like, years later, right?
That's
so it's the same thing with like all my clientele, right? At some point I started, right? And I always tell this story that always makes me laugh, is that like, at some point my neighbor would complain I was 16. My neighbor would complain that the music was always loud. He'd come over. He's like, dude, like, can you lower the music? Like, I'm trying to DJ. I'm trying to practice, Right. Can you lower it? And then that same neighbor booked me for my first gig for one of his birthday parties. So that's when I got my first gig, right? And so at the end of the night, he gives me an envelope with $50, right? And so I'm like, wow, like $50, like this is crazy, So imagine you're 16 and you just made, $50 when I was just doing this in my bedroom. You know what I mean? So you're kind of thinking like, wow, like this is insane, right? So from there, obviously, like, somebody at his party heard, and then that person's calling me and that person's calling me. So I tried to build those relationships, right, that have kind of led me to the point where I am at now. And so if you really look at my Instagram, like, my wife is always on me. My sister, like, dude, like you don't post. And I don't. Like, if you look at my Instagram, I have 20K plus followers, but it's like I think the last time I actually posted a legit post was like months ago. You know what I mean? And then like, I'll post on stories here and there, but I don't really have like a marketing strategy. I think it's just the relationships that I've built, you know, and that's what blows my mind, because a lot of people ask me this question all the time. Like, dude, I get like some DJs that'll hit me up all the time. It's like, dude, I want to know what you do. Like, how do you get to this level? And I tell them, like, it's the relationship building. Like, you know, the clientele that I've built, like, it's just like, I don't know what it is that I guess it's the little things that I do, right? From the moment that somebody books me, right, I want to make sure that I'm attentive, right? And that I make them feel comfortable, right? A lot of times, you know, I have a price, but then this person is being honest with me that it's like, oh, you know what, it might be too high. So then I'm not going to be afraid to be like, okay, well, what is a comfortable price for you, right? So I think that's where people are like, oh, wow, like this person lowered this, like this is the package that I wanted and I couldn't afford it, but he was willing to work with me and still give me the price that I can pay. And so throughout the years, like I think people appreciate that, right? That it's like, I'm flexible with it, you know, cool. If you can pay it, awesome. But if I want you to tell me too, if you can't, right? Or what it is that you do want and you don't want. So, you know, those little things. And then obviously after the event, right? Like I want to thank you, you know, for choosing me, you know, to be a part of such a big event, a wedding, huge, a quinceañera, huge, you know, other life, you know, celebrations that happen, and people chose me for a specific reason. It's like, you could have chose any other DJ, but it's like, you decided to go with me. So I want to make sure that I treat you, you know, and so obviously throughout that, the clientele, the party planners too, right? You might make an impression, you know, and they'll see, right? Party planners are important, right? They book other DJs or they see other DJs. They're in the event industry. So they see like, wow, this person is different. So then they hit me up, right? And they're like, hey, I'm just curious, what do you charge, right? And so I want to build a relationship with that party planner too. And so to me, my main marketing strategy is the relationship building. Until this day, like anytime that I can pretty much connect with someone, even if it's not a business, you know, or that might translate into a business, you know, for us, maybe a friendship. At some point, I might need this person, right? Or even if it didn't, cool, we had a cool interaction, right?
See, I think he laid it good, and this is one thing I'll try to push you sometimes. So he's just doing it by, you know, just networking and connecting people.
That's what I was about to say. It's like networking over marketing.
Yeah, but the thing that he has and you have, and that's why I'm trying to push you. When you talk to him, I'm pretty sure you already feel like you've known him for your whole life, right?
I told you, I think I went to school with him.
But see, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy just has a good, like, if I'm a client, right? I'm not even a client, but I'm his homie. But if I know him, like, and I also just to like get to know him tomorrow, your energy's there. It's a, like, if a client just talks to you, it feels like family. You don't come out straight like a business person. You come straight out like it's a different approach you do. You probably don't know. I come from business, so I understand what you do. And I tell D all the time, like, damn, Estradation, I respect that, man. Like, that dude is one of the few that humble, works hard, energy's always up. Like, it's just that there's a reason why you're successful. It's not because of a relationship. It's because of you. The relationship is all everything, but none of them go further without your attitude, who you are, your energy. All that's affectionate, bro, and people gravitate towards that. You remind me a lot of my father. My father's a very great man, and that's going to take you far. So as long as you keep doing that, bro, I mean, honestly, sky's the limit. Yeah. And like, I think that's one thing for you to take away. It's like your energy, and don't change that. Right. Who you are, bro, is going to set you, and it's gotten you this far. Right. You're going to go further, learn that, bro. Like, you're already a great person. Now it's just for you to apply that, because I think that's, you're looking at someone that has, like, I'm telling you, you're a great man. Like, bro, if you get to know Lavelle, you'll love this man.
I like Lavelle.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Appreciate it, man. We're about to rock out. We're going to have some fun.
For everyone out there, one of the main reasons I respect you, bro, is because what you did. A lot of people in the business, if it's not going right, they hide and they don't tell people the true story. With you, I remember when COVID hit, I think, you went back to a regular job.
Yep.
Your business was good. You were doing it full time. I believe you got a van at that time. I forgot how it was. And then you lost it on. You went to go get a job. And, oh, yeah, we were at the gym at one point. And that's how we talked about it.
Yep.
Talk about that transition from you were up and then you had to go back, and like what went through your mind to make you go back? Because a lot of people will be stubborn and no, I don't want to go to 9 to 5. Like, talk about that, because, you know, I know it's a very hard thing to swallow as an entrepreneur. Like, can you talk on that?
Oh, absolutely. And even I touched upon it a little bit, right? Where we were saying like everything has been kind of like life experience, right? That has led me to where I'm at. Same thing. Even before COVID, like there was just so many things that happened throughout those years, right? I know you were talking about when I was talking about my dad, where he lets me borrow the money, and it's like, oh well, he knew finances and all that. Believe it or not, when my at some point my dad let me borrow a credit card, right? He had like a $10,000 limit, and he added me as a what is it called, like
Like you could use it.
yeah, you know,
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
could use it, right? So I had my own name or whatever, same card number. I maxed it out in like 3 months, and so
man.
that was a life lesson that taught me that it's like, dude, like my dad was pissed. He's like, dude, like you're gonna mess up my credit. Like, how the hell in 3 months did you max it out? But here I am going to the club, buying my friends, you know, this and that, doing stuff that you know you're not supposed to do with a credit card. But
Right,
here I
right.
am, $10,000 limit. I'm just swiping. So having to pay that back really taught me to be like, hey, dude, you have to be disciplined with your money, right? At some point, I wanted to be in radio, right? And so I did have the opportunity to, you know, work on a project. Shout out to Leti Peniche, who's currently in Power 106. So it's crazy the way things work, right? At some point, even when I was 15, I used to listen to Power 106, right? Her radio name was Ricky Martinez. She was on with Big Boy's Neighborhood every morning. So I'd always listen to her, huge fan of her, right? And then at some point, she also went away from radio. She came back, and then she was working on a project to get back into radio. And somehow through, again, the relationships that I built, one of my friends, Liquid Courage, which I met at one of the events with Leti Peniche, I was doing a charity event. And that charity event was basically for immigrant kids. It was basically a shelter, right? And so for Christmas, you know, they were able to gather a bunch of toys, and they needed a DJ, somebody to play music. So I somehow got connected through, you know, the relationships that I built, right, to go there. And I met Leti, and so she loved it. She was appreciative. So she considered me for, you know, this position to be in radio, right? I always wanted to be in radio, right? We worked on this project, and then once we really got deep down into it, and seeing how it works, and it just wasn't really for me. So I was devastated when that project, you know, didn't work out, and it was right before COVID. So it was like, wow, like I saw my end, right? Where it was like, you always want to find like that one thing where it's like, I made it. That was to me. If I wanted to be on the radio, and wanted people to hear, be like, oh, you remember DJ Estradation? Like he used to do my high school event. Like he's on radio now, like, you know, do like a live set. And that didn't happen. Right. And then we shift, you know, to the next year. And then it's like, it's 2019. I remember being in October 2019, and I'm looking at, I'm old school, man. I don't like, you know, saving stuff on my calendar. So
Right.
I always buy those like whiteboard calendars, and I have one in my on my wall for 2020, right? And it's October 2019, and I'm looking at my calendar for 2020, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? I am completely booked every single Saturday. Like, how is it that 3 months before, you know, the new year, every single Saturday is booked? Like, I have a client here calling me. He's like, hey, are you available this day? And I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Right. So that was at the point where I was like, I've never had 52 gigs ever, you know, like I've done maybe 30, you know, 35 was probably the highest in a year. Right. You want to get some weekends off. And here I am, 2019, ready to go, you know, and people still calling me for Fridays and Sundays. I'm like, dude, like 52 weeks in a year, and weekends consist of 3 days. I'm like, man, I might even hit 100, you know? So we get through the first 3 months, and then COVID hits, right? And it's like, it sucked, right? Because it was like, that was my only source of income. So, you know, obviously I require a deposit. So imagine everybody from April, May until the end of the year is asking for the deposit back. So here I am, like, not trying to be that guy, right? Trying to hold their deposit, because I don't even know what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what? If the event's not going to, like, we were literally going week by week. And I was following up with the client. It's like, hey, is the party going to happen? And then more news coming out. Everything's shut down. Oh, no, now you can't do this. Now you got to do this. And it was like, everything just kept getting more restrictive. So every week, and even months out, people are like, hey, dude, like, you know, I don't have a job, or I can't do this. Like, I need my deposit back, you know? So it's like, here I am, not getting any money. The bills are still coming every month. I'm living off of my savings. Even off of my savings, I still have to give people back their deposits. So I was done. Dude, I was literally negative again. I was even going back to my dad and be like, hey, like, I need to pay people back their deposit, and I need to still pay my bills, you know? So it's like, how can I do this? So obviously the only way to do this was going back to a 9-to-5. And so, you know what? I always told myself, like, I'm never going to go back to a 9-to-5, but it's like, we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. You know, like, we already finished the end of 2020. It was supposed to be our most successful year.
Right.
You're negative, you know, like, how are you going to live? You know, like, you got to figure this out. So I went back to a part-time at a credit union as a bank teller. And that got me through my bills, man. Like, we weren't going out. I mean, we weren't going out partying. So like, it didn't really matter. Right. So like, whatever I was making that week was enough to pay my bills. And then once in a while, you know, like, to even pay some people back, I had to be honest with a lot of clients and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not making any money either. And I know you need it too. But just know, like, I don't have it right now. You know, like, let me figure it out. And I promise you, like, as soon as I have it, like, I'll send. So like, it was even 2021. And like, off of what I was making off that part-time, I was even paying, you know, the deposits back, you know. And then shout out to my boy, Christian, DJ Refade. He's also a DJ friend of mine. He knew I was struggling. So again, we built a relationship in college, and he was working a remote job for a healthcare company. And he's like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that part-time. Like, let me get you in. So through him, I was able to get an even better 9 to 5 remote, 40 hours a week, you know, full time. And so that's what probably came in clutch and really got me out of that hole to really be able to catch up and pay people's deposits back, really catch up on my bills and stuff. And then obviously when everything kind of eased up, you know, towards the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, I had to unfortunately leave that company to continue to pursue, or to continue where I left off, which was crazy to think that I had all my Saturdays booked. And guess what? 2022 came around, all my Saturdays were booked, and even more. And then 2023 came, and then it's like, and we just kept going on from there.
Was it because of the bookings? You was like, you know what? I'm done with the 9 to 5. I'm going back to this.
Yeah. So it was cool that people still considered me as like their go-to DJ even after the COVID. So that really made me feel good, right? That it's like some even clients had to postpone their events, their weddings, their quinceañeras to whenever it was available for you to DJ. So obviously they were like, oh, well, we already kind of hired you and we kind of want to go the same route. Like, you know, what are you offering? So it was cool to see that. And so, yeah, I guess, you know, the clientele I've been built up until that point still were like, oh, I'm their go-to. And so it was awesome to be able to be a reference for them still for their future events.
How much money did you give them? How much money, if you can kind of give an estimate in your top of your head, how much money did you have to give back that year?
Man, easily, I think like close to like 80,000, close to 80,000. Yeah. In deposits, maybe like 50, right? Like, and then, like the other 30 was just like stuff that I had like racked up, you know, with like credit cards and like personal loans that I had to get to. I had to figure out how to survive. Dude, at some point I was kind of cheating my own system where I was like, I had like a DBA where it does business as. I didn't have an LLC or none of that, right? So what I was doing is I had a platform through PayPal where a client could pay you with a credit card, right?
Oh, really?
They could pay you with a credit card. All they had to do is input their thing. So I was creating fake invoices under my name as if it was a client, sending it to myself with the link, putting my credit card information on there, like so that I could rack up as much money as I can, because the credit cards, you can only use them in like stores, right? Or stuff or whatever. Exactly. So it's like, I need the cash to pay my bills. I need the cash to do. And I was literally inputting that information on there. And then once I hit like let's say 3,000 on my PayPal account, I would, you know, transfer it over to my bank account. So 2-3 days it's in my bank account and I'm like paying bills and doing that, but I'm getting in debt. You know what I mean? So here I am making the minimum payment, you know, each month. And then I'm looking at the next credit card or even applying for a personal loan. And it's like, what can I do? You have to figure it out, dude. Like it was insane, you know, like, and I sometimes think about it, dude. And I'm just like, man, like, I don't even know where I got this idea from. It's like, you're just in survival mode, you know, you're just trying to figure it out.
For sure. Like some people like in slow seasons, especially like a couple of entrepreneurs, they'll go back to getting a regular job. But some people get caught up in like the cycle of now a consistent check is coming. Some people just give up on it. How did you like still maintain like, you know what? This is what I'm doing. I'm not going to get caught up in this, because you said you had your guy hooked you up with a job where you was making actually better money. How did that not hinder you from going back to doing what you were doing?
Man, it was a tough decision to leave, you know, that company. I love that company. What they were doing was basically a healthcare company that helps the underdeserved. you know, and I'm very passionate about that, right? Like, you know, my quince giveaways and stuff. At some point, I considered myself underdeserved, right?
Right.
Like with the example that I gave you, the Shaq shoes, we couldn't afford it. I didn't know at the time, you know, I just really thought I just wanted to be different,
Right.
right? So it was very difficult for me to leave that. But it was like, if I could get to the point where I was at in 2019, on October 2019, and see that my calendar was there, I'm like, I feel like I can make more money than this, you know, and be my own boss. You know, I love the feeling of being free and not, you know, being micromanaged. Not that company did, but it was just like, just the freedom. Right. And what I was able to do, where it was like a Monday or Tuesday, a friend could hit me up and be like, hey, let's go grab dinner. Yeah, I can do it. You know, rather than be like, oh, wait, dude, I got to wait till I get off of work to be able to do it. It's like, I make my own schedule. Right. I know that no matter what, I just got to be there at the event, take care of business, and then I can figure out the rest after that. So it was tough leaving it. But, you know, a sacrifice that I did. Right. Would I ever go back to that 9 to 5? Absolutely. 100%. You know, I love that company and, again, what they do and what they stand for. But everything happens for a reason. And I guess, you know, leaving it, even though it was tough, was probably one of the best decisions, you know, to just kind of pick up from where I was at.
Oh man, did you ever have to like refund some people during COVID?
No, because like thankfully it was just like it's work to work, but it's not like a whole year's in advance.
I don't know.
Mine was like a month, and like so that was like the worst. But luckily they were all willing to wait until later on. We didn't know when, but the budget stayed with me. But I remember my issue was if they would have asked me, I probably would have been in the same situation because I just paid off 2 credit cards. And I remember myself at that time, right before March, because that's when it hit. It was right a day after my birthday. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of having all these credit cards. The reason why I wasn't paying them is because I was investing back into my business. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? Let me just pay off my credit cards. Like, why do I even have them? Like, let me stop buying camera gear. Let me focus on these credit cards. So I paid off 2. It was like $7,000, and like I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's keep it going. Right. That thing hit, and I was like, damn, I only had 1,500 in my bank account, and I'm like, dude. And then that was enough for next month. That's it. No. Luckily, my parents gave me a building to go clean, and that was kind of like keeping me afloat, but not really. And shout out to my girl because she was helping me during that time. But she just quit her job too to work for me. So, so you talking about double broke? Like, like one's in credit card debt, the other one's getting no money.
How does that conversation go? Like, hey, man, I told you to quit your job, but
well, I mean, real story. She didn't even know I was in $100,000 debt. She didn't know. I just remember her telling me, like, when you get married with somebody, you kind of got to know what the other person has.
You're right.
And her mom, like, she told me something about her mom's story, and I was like, damn, I'm in a bad situation. If she finds out the type of like debt that I'm in, she gonna let my ass go. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, I didn't know they can get that information. I was like, let me start paying everything off. Because she's probably wondering, like, yeah, you have all this money, like you're working all these jobs, but where's the money?
Where's
like,
the money, right?
I was literally staying at my dad's house. I'm like, oh, we can't go really out anywhere, like, you know. But it was just, thankfully, I didn't go through that. But shout out to you, bro, for giving everybody back a good heart, good human. Yeah. Me, I mean, I don't know how I would approach that, but I would have been scared because it changed. That moment, I think, was hard for everybody. Every business, it was, you had to kind of just figure out what to do to kind of flip it around.
Yeah, it hit everybody unexpectedly. Like nobody knew the aspect of COVID, what it would do to the rest of the world. People heard like, oh, it was a sickness over there, and then you like thinking it's, oh, that's over there, and then when it affect everybody, it's like, whoa.
It was the world, bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was the world. I think that's crazy.
If I was in your shoes, I would have been shitting bricks. Like, whoa, you want me to get this money back?
Yeah, like,
I'm like, hold on, we all hurting right now. Like, I can't, but that's shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, that's for real. And you got through it and you got it done. So, man, major shout outs to you. With the going back to what you were saying, Crazy Hour. For the people that don't know, what is that and how did that come about?
Yeah, so every year, me and my family would always go to Mexico. So in Mexico, when they cousin invites me, like, hey, we're going to so-and-so's quinceañera. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. So we go to the quinceañera, and the DJ over there didn't call it the Crazy Hour, but he did something similar. And I was just kind of in awe. Like, he just had those, you know, the clown balloons, the long balloons.
Right.
And he had, like, little light-up stuff. So, like, every couple of songs, he was just kind of, like, just playing upbeat music, right? And then just kind of giving out that stuff. He had like an assistant and he was giving out the balloons and then he was giving out the light up batons and then he was giving out like light up glasses. And I was just like, dude, like this is sick. Like this is awesome. Like I'm having a good time, because normally in Mexico, you're hearing all this Mexican music and then all of a sudden he turned it into some like upbeat electro, like Vegas style, like some type of music. And like, he's giving out stuff and you're just kind of like on the dance floor. I'm like, man, this is awesome. So obviously already DJing and then kind of seeing that, I was like, you know what? Like, that's what I have to do. So it's funny that the year, I forget the year it was, but the year that Gangnam Style came out, remember by Psy, the Korean singer, that's how I started my show. With that, that's kind of how I would start my crazy hour. I would go out to the dance floor and make everybody do a circle. I'd play that song and I'd be doing like the Gangnam's, style. And then we'd be giving out the balloons and stuff. And so then each time, like, we would always try to be like, how can we make it better? And it's like, oh, look, they have light up glasses. Oh, look, they have light up, batons. They have light up rings. They have light up bracelets. So I would always continue to kind of like add on to that. And I just kind of kept adding my own style to it. So then now what we do is like, we've kind of mastered it to a point where it's like, we have multiple things that we give, right? Light up rings, bracelets, glasses, bow ties, some flower heads, batons. And then after we kind of complete that, we do this thing called Pásame la botella, where it's like, pass me the bottle, right? So I kind of loop the song. I make everybody get in a circle or open up like kind of like into a circle. I take out a bottle of liquor, and I'm holding the mic and I just kind of like, cheers to, who we're celebrating. And then I take a shot and then I let them know like, hey, 21 and over, who's next? And then I start pouring shots on people and like people just love that, right? So imagine like you've already kind of heard this upbeat music, right? And it's like you think they're done giving out the stuff, but it's like there's more stuff coming. And then now he's making you do a circle and it's like, oh, now we get to take shots. It's like, oh yeah. So, and then we ended with our CO2 cannon, which is just kind of like that wow factor, which is a handheld device with a CO2 tank. And it just pretty much creates this really cool cloud effect that just kind of shoots all over the place wherever the person is. So that's just kind of like the wow factor. And that's what got me known in the whole DJ.
It's a vibe.
world.
If you have never seen it, bro, if you're ever there, you're like, oh, this is. I'm not expecting. I wasn't expecting this. Like, it's a vibe. I filmed one, so I seen it. I'm like, damn, like this is pretty dope. So yeah, but now, one question I think would be a really good one for every business out there that be watching this podcast. Talk to me about what's the biggest investment you made in your career.
Ooh.
16 years. What's your biggest investment?
Probably one that had you like your back against the ropes. Like you was a little iffy about it.
Yeah.
But it ended up paying off once you did it.
Because I feel like every business has always had that one investment that you're questioning. It was a lot of money. Yeah. And then, so what's your biggest investment and how much money did you have? Was it credit card? So combine those two into one.
Yeah. That's a hard one. Because all of them have been really hard, to be honest. Like, I always felt like there's a risk to it. Like, especially when I bought the photo booth, I'd probably say the photo booth. Because it's like, I'm a DJ, like 3,500.
Okay.
Like all in, which is a lot, like, especially when it's like, I'm a DJ. Like, what the hell am I doing buying over here, photo booth equipment? Right. And it actually turned out to be one of the best investments because obviously my return on that was amazing, because then I figured like I not only can package it with my DJ service, but I can also rent it out on its own, right? Kind of like as a separate thing. So yeah, at that time it was like it was definitely well pre-COVID, but it was like I was in a transition where it was like I'm about to graduate college, like I got all these student loans coming up, right? Like I'm working all these part-time jobs, I'm not getting that many gigs, and then here I am trying to make a $3,000 investment. Right. And like knowing that I don't even have the capital for it. And so it's like, here I am kind of going again to my dad, like, hey, dad, like, I want to borrow another $3,000. And it's like, dude, like, is it not enough? Like, right. Obviously from everything that it's kind of helped me with. So that's why I take it serious too. Like when you were saying that, like, oh, some people would just take the money, but it's like, it was more of an embarrassment thing for me to be like, I know I can rely on him, but it's like, but yeah, the photo booth. And then from there, obviously, like just other little, like lighting and, an LED screen at some point. The LED screen, I had to actually purchase it with a partner. That one was probably all in like 17,000. So I was probably, and money wise, that was probably the biggest investment that we made for the business.
So when you got the photo booth, it was 3,000 out of your pocket or your dad's pocket?
Out of my pocket. And pretty much like that's all I had. It was like, and then what I borrowed from my dad was for me to be able to survive the next 3 months.
So see, that's what I want everyone to take away. Every business has a moment where there's no money, or you have just the money, and you got to make the choice. You can be cheap and like be scared, or you got to take that risk. And I'm pretty sure like you had it in your back of your mind where like, okay, I'm doing it. It's within my field. I don't know if it's going to work. It's stupid because I'm a DJ. It's a photo booth, but it's still with what I'm doing. I got to give it a shot. And I think you gave it a shot and it worked out. And I think that every business owner should take that. Like if you just have 3,000, sometimes that's the move you got to make. Like you can't be like scared and pass up on the opportunity, because that, who knows, someone else could come in and do what you're doing, and now they're taking all the business.
Right.
So you just came at the right time. You took the leap of faith. You made it work. And I feel like that's respect to you, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's
Thank
respect.
you.
He
For
said
real.
$3,000. Oh yeah.
That's all I had.
I respect that,
And
bro.
then here I am
like
asking
the way
my dad.
You invested your money.
Yeah.
And you used your dad money like, hey, this is for me. Like, that was.
Because I was embarrassed, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, it got to a point where it was like every year I'm asking him, it's like, hey, can I borrow this? Hey, can I borrow it? So, like, at some point, I'm like, dude, like, I have to, like, figure this out, So it was like, I'm going to take that leap of faith, right? And we did it. And it was tough. Yeah.
So you said with the LED screen, you did that with a partner.
Right.
How often do you collaborate with others? I'm not sure if he's a part of your team now, or if like anyone outside your team. So how does that work for you?
So I should mention that where I am at now would not be possible without the team that I've built over the years. So yeah, being a DJ, I can be, the face of the company. I'm the MC. I'm the one creating the entertainment. But then with the photo booth, who's going to take care of that? Like, I'm DJing. Like, I need somebody to be there, set it up, take care of it, pack it up for me. Like, I can't be DJing and then they tell me, hey, dude, the camera's not working. It's like, I'm DJing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, obviously with all these investments, like the robots too, like, I suit up in one, but it's like, if I want more robots, like I have to get people. Right. So it was like just the team that I've built, it wasn't just a one-man show. So again, when I was trying to invest in the LED screen, it was like, I already have a team of people, right? Like, why not bring in somebody that might want to make a little bit more money, right? And you'll get a cut off of the rentals. You're already helping me out, So it's like a team. I think a team is important. And I think Mario can also vouch for that, right? Like with the studios, right?
Yeah,
and
I'm
all that.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
I'm over here balling.
Lavelle, like out here, I saw this guy over here setting up the equipment and stuff. And then Eric behind the scenes too, like,
Just
drinking
a beer over there.
Doing his thing. And
But he brought
stuff.
the camera. He brought the full
see?
camera. We gotta
There
have
we
the
go.
truth.
That is
So it's
true.
like you got to have a team, And so I wouldn't have been able to scale to where I am at today if it wasn't for a team. So like obviously I have booth attendants now. Like shout out to my sister who's been there since day one, and has been the one that kind of manages all of my photo booths now. Where we're up to 3 now. And then from there,
hold on.
Yeah.
We're talking about the first one. It was an investment, and that was all the money he had. Now you're like,
Like, I got 3 now.
I got like 3 of them. A couple cars, couple Rolexes. It's nothing.
But see, like what I love, bro, is and I'm starting to see 2 different stories here with like myself and him. Right. What's beautiful about you, bro, and I filmed actually one of his when he was doing some giveaways.
Oh man.
And what I love is your parents are supportive.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, and sister, bro. They're all there.
They're always there. Yeah.
They're literally there, bro, supporting. And on my behalf, not saying my parents weren't supportive, but they were just never there. They didn't my dad didn't give me no money. He had money, but he didn't want to give me nothing. I had to do everything.
So you gotta earn it
I had
somehow.
to earn everything myself, and mine was through credit cards because I'm like, dude, I have no money. I have no capital. I'm in negative. Like I had to go get more credit cards, So I think it's just beautiful to see like how it can still happen with somebody being there. But you just took advantage of it. You didn't take it for granted. And, for everyone out there, it's just like you get 2 sides. Like you get one that has to do it his own way by himself. I had support, but I didn't have support. But financially, I had to do it myself. And you had support, and financial support as well. But you didn't take it for granted. And so there's ways. But if your parents give you money, you got to take it to heart because at the end of the day, they worked hard. And I know you know that. So that's why you did what you did. And yeah, it's beautiful, bro. It's cool to see like 2 different sides,
Yeah, is most of your team like people or is people you hired?
Absolutely. It's all people I know. So like from booth attendants, my sister again manages, been there since day one, kind of managing that. And then another friend of mine who's also a good friend with my sister was like, hey dude, like I need help, with the unloading and loading. And then he also kind of became one of my booth attendants. Shout out to my boy Jay Robles, who's also a DJ now and has kind of expanded in that, but also helps us out in the business quite a bit. And then we have my boy David, through the friend that helped me purchase, my friend DJ Refit, who helped me purchase the LED screen. He connected me with a friend of his who's an amazing dancer, and he's actually one of my best robots out there. So this guy knows what to do. He suits up and he's kind of out there doing his thing. And then we met Robot Roger, who's a robot on stilts. So he's kind of the one that helps me with robots on stilts.
Not to cut you off, but I'm not sure if it's your party or how many people in this industry that does this, but I have seen a party like that with the robots come in on the stilts. Then I also seen like a couple of people bring like the fat heads.
Oh, the fat heads. Yep. The big heads. Yep.
Yeah. So
you know them actually.
Yeah.
He knows them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's dope. Like, so I probably have.
See, you've probably seen the crazy hour. So it's a common thing now that pretty much any DJ can do, right? And I think they should do it. You want to create that environment that's memorable for everybody. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. The big heads, the robots, the stilts. That's how I met Robot Roger. I needed somebody to walk on stilts. Like I'm not gonna do it. Like the robots we started out with, they're human size, meaning they're not on stilts. It's the whole robot suit. Right. It's just not on stilts. You have the option of adding the stilts, but it's like, dude, like I don't know, like it's already enough to do everything that I'm doing. And then imagine me having to walk on stilts. So we found Robot Roger, and then he has his own team that he kind of always brings with me to help me with the stilt walkers. And stuff like that. And then more recent with the whole production setups, my boy Albert, who I met through a DJ friend of mine who I saw one day was doing this whole like stage setup. And I was like, dude, like I want to do that. And so he connected me to Albert, and Albert already had the equipment, LED screen, some crazy concert sound, lighting and stuff. And then his nephews and his team. So we kind of all like just kind of came together, and that's how we're kind of like, hey, like, y'all can do your own thing. But then, like at some point, like there's gonna be events where we come together. So that's where you'll see where we all kind of come together and we bring everything that we have and we just make it happen.
Building a team,
building a team.
I think it's really important. I think that's one of the most undervalued things that people don't like look at. Because you kind of need a team in order to scale. Yeah. There's a limit to where you got, and then you saw like, okay, I'm a DJ, but then I'm doing the robot thing, like, but I can't be doing so much. Like, where is? And then you found the robot that has people in his team as well, and then you just kept expanding, and I think that's very important. It's not about being greedy and like I can do it all. Right. It's like there's got to be a time where you got to place yourself back and be like, which am I? I feel like it's the best me. Right. And then let me get what other people are great at, and let them do that. And, and just, again, you're going to get a little cut, but it's just about offsetting. Instead of getting the full amount and stressing yourself and killing yourself for something you shouldn't do. And then you're probably now a bad experience because now you're doing too many things. Now you're doing too much. Yeah, exactly. You got to focus on what you're good at and then train your team. Or if they're already naturally talented, like my boy Lavelle over here, then it's like, let them take care of it. Right. Like don't even micromanage, just let them be, Yeah. And that's just kind of like, with my sister and David, the robot, my boy Albert, like they're all experts at this, right? So it's like I'm not telling them like, hey, like they just know what to do. So it's like they were just an important asset, and I guess an incredible, very well fit into the team, and helping me expand. So it was awesome. The team, man, it's important.
You guys just watched a dope episode. If you guys want to continue to check out more name drops and people that's doing bad business, be sure to tune into the part 2 of this episode that'll be coming real soon.